Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Redefining Hustle, Navigating Success as a Christian Woman. I am so excited to have my friend, my client, AliceAnne Loftus, as our guest today. We are really talking about what does it look like to let Jesus lead, peace over profits, surrendering to his plan over our own. And listen, this is something that we as high achieving women are just challenged by because we're really good at getting it done. We're really good at being in control, really good at leading, right? So AliceAnne is the founder of Leading Lady Coaching and the Leading Lady community, as well as the ambassador program that is part of Leading Lady and her new Leading Lady Hub, which you're definitely going to want to know about. She is a wife, a mom, and a multiple business owner because she also has been in business for over 20 years, owning two leading child learning centers in the Annapolis area. So AliceAnne, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Erin. I am so honored to be here and just can't wait to dive in.
Is there anything else that you want, before I dive in with my questions, them to know about who you are?
You pretty much covered it. You know, a part of Leading Lady, we have the hub, we have local networking groups if you're local to Annapolis, Maryland, but the hub is for anywhere in the world. I have my own podcast, and then my books, Take the Lead, and then the We Lead series, which our third book will come out this November.
So she's an author too, y'all, and a speaker and a podcaster. She's all the things.
All the things.
All the things.
Yes.
All right. So today we're really talking about what happens when we let Jesus lead and the growth that comes from that, which is amazing, but also can, leave us a little bit uncomfortable. I want to take us back to the start of Leading Lady. Why did you start it?
That's such a powerful question. And I love to think about the early days of Leading Lady. But why it started was, as you said, I've been an entrepreneur. I've owned childcare centers in Anne Arundel County, Maryland for now going into my 22nd year. And I started that first company when I was 22 years old. So, going through starting a business, running a business, leading a family, doing all of the things, I know firsthand what support is needed and how important having a strong community around you, and also having access to the right resources that are going to help you achieve sustainable success in your business. So I created Leading Ladies because I had gathered all that information and I wanted to share that and empower other women leaders and entrepreneurs.
And as many businesses, right, it kind of starts small in one way and then starts to evolve from there. So when you started, what was your vision?
I don't really know what my vision was. And I think that's the beauty of it too, is I am someone that says, let's see where this goes. Mm-hmm. I know I need this. Something's calling me. Someone is calling me to do this. And I kind of just follow through that. And yes, I do develop expectations or visions around it. But initially, I wasn't really sure what this would be. I just wanted to bring women together to start having conversations around the challenges that we have as women leaders and women entrepreneurs. I had no idea it would grow to what it is today.
And we're going to get to that in a second. One of the things that I love that you talk about is, if you don't have a place to sit or you feel like you don't have a place to sit, come sit by me. And as women, I think we've all experienced those situations where maybe we feel like we don't fit, or maybe we're not supposed to be at that table, or maybe we've encountered situations where our peers as women have not been so kind to us. So tell us how you have created this culture of everyone being welcome at the table.
Oh, I think that's who I am innately. I was a military child. I moved around a lot. I found myself in many situations where I didn't have a place to sit. There wasn't room for me. And so how I live my life is I never want anyone around me to feel that way. And so that was kind of a leading principle, a leading value in my business, is that everyone felt welcome, that everyone felt seen. And I say all the time, the women that we're around, we've either gone through it we're going through it or we will go through it. So in every exchange, there's something to connect you to that woman in
Yeah.
some way. You're either a teacher, a student, a support, a friend, a mentor, whatever. There's something to be shared between each of you. And, it's creating spaces like that. I just see it as an extension of my home, of my heart, and really just not wanting any woman to feel like I don't belong here.
Yeah. And you do such an incredible job of creating that, not just in the physical space that you have at the collective in Annapolis, but even the hub, which I know recently launched. We're going to talk about that in a second, but it is such a welcoming space for women in business. And so you're right. It is kind of an extension of who you are and how you would treat anyone in your home. And I love that. Tell us about, where was your faith and your relationship with Jesus when you started Leading Lady, and where it is now?
Yeah. I've always been someone of faith. I grew up in church. I believed in God. I do believe in God, obviously. But you know me because I met you and I said, I'm doing all of these things in my life, but I feel like I've got this huge hole. Like something's not clicking. And I think I was afraid to step into my faith because my clients aren't necessarily Christian
Mm,
women. They're um, and I was afraid that if I announced myself as a Christian, if I stood in my faith, that it would turn people off. I mean, how crazy is that, right? That I thought if I say, "Hey, I'm a Christian woman," that people would say, "Oh, well then she's not the coach for me. That's not the
yeah,
place for me."
yeah.
And through the work that I've done with you of really learning to lean into it and stand in my faith, I've actually seen the opposite of that. Is
Mm,
that I'm more aligned. People of all backgrounds, they're feeling more empowered and more confident to stand in their own faith. Um, and I think there's just a message when we show up authentically.
mm.
But I really struggled with that, and with the work that I did with you, of really just stepping into that and claiming my faith and letting that be not something that I tucked away, but something that I put in full front. This is who I am.
And I love what you've just said, because so often I get that question, right? Like I have somebody may say to me, "My business is not about just serving the Christian community. How do I how do I bring my faith in? I'm a copywriter. I can't just start changing my clients' words to bring Jesus into the conversation." So how do you show up and bring that forward in the women that you serve?
Yeah, it's just because my client might not be Christian, that doesn't change who I am as a Christian woman.
Mm,
How I show up, how I listen, how I hold space for others. Jesus tells us to love all, not just love people who look and think like us,
yeah.
right? Let's be for real on that. And so if I am rooted, using your word, rooted in my faith and show up how I want to show up as a Christian, I'm authentically holding space for others.
Oh.
And it really has actually opened doors because, like I said, it gives other women the confidence to show up true in who they are and know that I'm going to be accepting.
Mm. And it has also opened doors to where your business is going. So I am so excited. Tell us how the Lord is leading you now. You talked earlier, like, I didn't know what the vision might be, but wow, how the vision has just become even clearer and bigger. So
Yeah.
tell us what has happened over the last few years, and all of the ways that the Lord has expanded Leading Lady.
Yeah. Well, that movement that let
Yeah,
them, yeah, forgive me, I don't know
I think
who
it's Mel
really,
Robbins.
Mel Robbins maybe,
Yeah.
but I don't think she's the originator of that. But, there's that saying, let them. And I would say in the last few years, I'm more of let God, let God.
Mm.
And, I'm very type A. My first name's AliceAnne, so I'm not just type A, I'm type AA. like, like
Right.
I take control issues to like the next level. So to be able to let go and let God and trust that I don't have to have all the answers. I have to tune in to him, ask myself like not how do I do this, but what am I called to do with this? Like what is he asking me to do with this?
Mm.
And then just trusting that he's going to lead those answers to me. And they might be soft whispers.
Mhm.
You know, it's not always like a neon sign flashing in my face. Sometimes it is, and how I feel in my body or you know, what's going on in the world. Like sometimes you know right away, no, that's not the path for me. But just listening to those whispers and the things that he puts in my path um, and just really connecting with myself and in my reflections and with the Bible of like, what are the messages that I'm meant to pick up in here? And when I let go and let God, um, oh my gosh, powerful things that I couldn't even have planned myself. Opportunities start coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of those opportunities. What has he been putting on your plate? Let's say even in the last year.
You know, well, the big one that was the internship program. I had really been struggling with needing to have some things taken off my plate. I'm like, gosh, I'm not really in a play. Like, what does this look like? And the wrong people kept coming
Mm.
into play. And, you know, I sat, I prayed on it. I thought, okay, what's really the purpose of leading lady? What aligns with leading lady? And then, oh my gosh, like that, like a snap of the finger. This is what I want you to do. And I put it out there. And this program has flourished. It has opened doors. It's completely shown me that when we do things aligned, God does powerful, powerful things with you.
Amen. Yeah.
And it's inspiring. I'm having so much fun doing it and I feel so purposeful and so I keep using the word aligned, but that's when we are listening
Oh,
to
yeah.
God, we are aligned.
Absolutely.
And it just feels like beautiful.
Yeah.
Like this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. You know?
Yeah. One of the things that you've talked about that I want to bring forward about the internship program is, you started all of this for the women like you, the women in business, the women who wanted to network but weren't sure where and wanted a seat at the table. And what's transpired with this program is that you're now raising up the next generation. I mean, I get chills thinking about that. The next generation of leaders. And that is not what you were looking for. You were looking for additional help. And the Lord said, no, 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 let me connect this back to the vision here.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, like, "No, AliceAnne, you don't just need extra help." And my motto is, "We all win or we don't play." I've
Yeah,
always
right.
practiced that in my business, and he showed me how to create a win that allowed me to use my purpose and my gifts, uh, and it was just beautiful,
It's so
beautiful.
beautiful,
Mhm.
beautiful. And then the hub, talk about that.
Yeah, the hub. So the hub was something I had worked on for a long time, you know, probably over a year behind the scenes. And I kept thinking that it had to look a certain way. And I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. And I said, you know what? I just need space. I need
Mm,
space to kind of let this sort itself out.
yeah.
And I was working with the incredible Jen Howitt. She's a fellow leading lady ambassador, connected by you. Love her. And she was so gracious and so kind and so patient with me through that. And she kept saying, "Let's not rush it. You're gonna
Mm,
know. You're gonna know when God tells you this is what I want you to do with it. You're gonna know." And so we waited, and again, it was like I'm sitting there. I'm like, "What am I supposed to do with this? What is the way to really serve?" You
yeah.
know, and it's not vanity metrics. It's not how many subscribers or how much money I can get in that. But how can I take something I've already built and amplify the people who participate in that, the ambassadors, um, offer quality to people. And what's really important to me is that I'm not gatekeeping how to
Right.
build your business. That serves no one if you're gatekeeping,
Yeah.
right? But what I am doing is I've curated a community to
Mhm.
support women in business, but it should be affordable and accessible, right? And you and I had a lot of conversations on this.
Yeah.
I didn't feel good if I was like charging people these large coaching packages and then they couldn't afford to implement the things that they were learning in their
Right.
business, because many of the businesses I'm working with, we know starting up a business is expensive and you have to prioritize where that money goes. And so just again, like looking at it and going, what do I have and how do I pull
Mm.
that all together to serve him
Yeah.
and what he's calling me to do? How do I want to show up in this world? What is the mark that I want to leave there? And then the hub. I was like, again, everyone wins. And everyone has a seat, everyone has space, everyone can work at their own pace. The ambassadors are being highlighted and are able to connect with their audiences in the hub. And coaching is affordable and accessible to people who need those products and those services.
Yeah, and tell everyone what is the hub for those who are like, "Wait, tell me more." They're
Yeah,
leaning in.
yeah. So the hub is an online community, an online platform. It's hosted in Kajabi, but it's a community online, and it has a dashboard of resources.
Mm.
So yeah, so when being that I've been a woman in business, so running my life, trying to balance it all, I created a tool. It's a strategic wheel, and basically you can start anywhere. You can just say, how satisfied am I in these areas of my life and my business? And then based on that tool, you can say, okay, I need support in these areas. And the dashboard has all of these resources to support you in those specific areas. But we also have every Monday, we have live coaching. You get immediate access to me and to the ambassadors. There's discussion boards, chat channels from everything from, um, you know, the best podcasts to listen to. If you're a veteran owned business, if you're a Spanish speaking business owner, there's just so many places for you to go in the hub and get the support that you need and the
Mm.
direction that you need to take your business to the next level or to create sustainable success.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
love it because it makes it, you said this, accessible.
Mhm.
And it's the like, didn't we all wish we had something like this?
I certainly did.
Right?
I certainly did. When I was 22 years old, trying to figure out how to run a
Right.
business and raise my family, and practice self-care so I didn't lose my mind,
Right. Exactly.
Um,
All the
I wish
things.
I had something like that, because I think we've
Yeah.
all spent a lot of money in things that we thought were going to be the thing that helped us, and then it wasn't. It
Mm.
wasn't. It
Yeah.
wasn't user friendly, or it didn't give us tangible action items. Um, you weren't connected with real people,
Yeah.
you know. So this hub is really the
Yeah.
hub where you can go and get the support, resources, tools, um, and community that you need so that you can show up.
Yeah. And PS, if you're wondering where the hub is, don't worry. We have the links. We're going to have all of that. We'll make sure you've got that. What is the underlying foundation, if you will, that you believe has really led to this growth? Growth that maybe was simmering in your heart, in your mind, but you couldn't quite, wrap your arms around it. Growth that maybe you didn't expect, growth where he's taking you next. Like, what is that secret sauce beyond, oh, I'm a high achiever and I get things done?
I think when I stopped measuring my own achievements,
Mm,
as a high achieving woman, we tend to build our resume on what we achieved.
yeah.
And I don't want to look at the end of my life. I hope at the end of my life, I'm not, oh, well, she has this many degrees and she earned this much money. And she, that's never what's on your tombstone.
Right.
That's never what the eulogy says,
Yeah. Right.
that she did those things. And so when I let go of my own definition of success and aligned it with, I am a daughter of Christ, and what did he make me for? And we've talked about this. I've gone through things in my life that I wouldn't wish on anyone, and unfortunately, because of free will and things out of our control, the world, things happen. And you can lay there and you can say, why me? Why me? Why me? Or you can say, okay, what now? Now that happened, what does God want me to do with that? And I think that when I look at it and I say, okay, this isn't about what I can achieve, but I want to be completely wrung out when this life is over, that I used up every single thing that he gave me. Yeah. Getting a little emotional. And when I started looking at how I show up in my life and in my business and with my kids and with my friendships and all the things, I'm like, wring me out. Get as much out of me as God put into me. Erin, it changed everything. It really did. And, I'm not a perfect Christian. I'm not a woman who is solid in my faith 100% of the time. Amen. I am human. I have doubt. I have struggles and challenges. But when I get too far off that, I come right back to where I am rooted, and it makes decision-making easier. It takes pressure off because you just trust. And it's really powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. What I hear in all of it is the willingness to surrender our expectations, our goals, surrender what we've always been taught, surrender what the world says success looks like, surrender, even like you said, surrender, like, I need help, but wait, an internship program? Or is this going to be a course, or is it going to be a hub? Like, when you surrendered all of that, and there's layers of surrender, you experienced his movement at a new level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Oh, absolutely. And when you can set your ego aside and say, this isn't about me. Yeah. This is not about me.
Yeah.
It's about how he uses me.
That's right.
And, and our ego is a rascal. It wants to tell us that we should be the best, and we should make the most money, and we should have Pinterest homes and all of the things. And if you know me, I do love all of those things. And you can do those things and still serve God.
Yeah.
When you say, but that doesn't define me. That doesn't define me. Yeah. It's how he's using me. And if I'm willing to be used, if I'm willing to put myself out there in the way that he's calling me to be, it's, the ego can sit in the back seat for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. This is so beautiful. As we finish this up, I have two questions. One is there anything that you want to be sure the listeners hear and absorb? If they take nothing else away from this, what is that one thing that you want them to know based on your experience?
Control is an illusion.
Oof.
Control is an illusion. If you are fighting for control in your life, you need to connect with Erin. You need to connect with absolutely Erin, but connect with God.
Yeah.
That control is an illusion. Yes, we have free will, but we do not have control.
Yeah.
We have control over our attitude and our effort, and that's the only thing. And if your attitude and your effort is not aligned with God, you are going to constantly hit roadblocks.
Oh, I feel that. All right, AliceAnne, how can people find you? This will be in the show notes, but where do you want them to go? If they were like, where do I go right now?
Oh gosh, where do you go right now? My Facebook group, it's a free Facebook group. That's probably the fastest way to connect with me. Well, we can drop the notes. I'm sure the link in the notes there. Follow me on social media, Instagram. I'm very active on there. Uh, Absolutely, the hub would love to have you. But really, I'm pretty easy to find with podcasts, the books, smoke signals. You know, I'll come running. Put your Batman signal up.
Right. Leading lady, I need you. P.S. Look for the flamingo because
Look for the
that's the
flamingo.
logo. Yeah. Yeah. I love
Yeah.
this so much. I'm gonna, as we close out, first of all, thank you. Thank you
Thank you.
for being here. Thank you for making time for all of this. Thank you for being willing to be forward in faith, but also allowing um uh, the Lord to use you because he's so unique and specific in how he uses each of us.
Yeah. Each of
Um,
us have such powerful gifts and purpose. He made us that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's selfish to not let him use you, like to
Mm,
not show up the way that he made you.
yes. Yes. And I'm going to take a cue from your podcast. So AliceAnne ends every podcast with take the lead yourself, the rest will follow. And I'm going to spin this a little bit and say, leading yourself as a Christian woman is really about letting Jesus leading yourself to him, not leaning on your own understanding, as it says in Proverbs, leaning into him and his direction. And especially, there are big things coming from AliceAnne and Leading Lady, and you all want to watch this space. But the only way she can lead that is to let him lead.
Mhm.
So, AliceAnne, thank you. Thank you for blessing our audience today.
Thank you, Erin. I couldn't have done this without you. Honestly, I was really struggling, and you helped. You helped show me as a high achieving woman what it's really all about.
Thank you. And it's all about him.
Mhm.
All right, y'all. Until we're together next time, remember that God made you ambitious, but he did not make you for business as usual. And tuning out the world is the way to go. Tune out the world, tune into God's truth, turn up focus, and we'll see you on the next episode.